Welcome to Pigs and Pinot. This is our tutorial. I'm here at home. I've been at home for many weeks now, a couple weeks now, with our family. My son Randall is filming today, so he's going to take all the credit for this beautiful production. This is bread that just came out of the oven. Baking with the Rolling Stones always makes better bread. Alexa, turn it off, please. All right, today we're going to do a little Pigs and Pinot dish, and we're going to link in Clay Mauritson. So hopefully we can get him connected here. Clay's at the winery. Every week at 1 o'clock Pacific time, we're going to do a different dish, and we're going to pair it with a different winery. So we're going to invite our winery friends from Pigs and Pinot in here. Here we got all our ingredients showing like this. Hi, Clay.
Hey, Chef. How we doing?
What's the beard, man? What's going on there?
This is what 2 weeks of social distancing will do to you, man.
Can't you get one of your kids to shave you? I should get one of your kids one of those razors to give you a little trim up job there.
Well, for obvious reasons, I'm a little bit concerned about that. You should see the beautiful toenails that I have now. My daughter is a little bit bored at home, so.
All right, let's not go that far. That's good. Hey, you ready to go? You excited about this?
I'm ready, man. I'm excited.
Okay, we got listen, for our Pigs and Pinot audience out there, first of all, I want to thank everyone, for coming on. It's been incredible. When we started to talk about doing this, we've had really an avalanche of people. There's, Pigs and Pinot followers and fans and the people that have visited for Pigs and Pinot now for 15 years. It's just incredible. And we thought we wanted to have a way to bring a little bit of that into their home. We're going to do this every week, as I was saying. And also from the winery side, everybody's cooped up. I'm going to give you a nice recipe every week. And then guys like Clay will figure out how to get you some wine. If you want some wine at home, you want to crack a bottle. And then each week we can talk about, what recipe goes with it. Obviously, there's many different things to pair with Pinot. But, it's all about Pinot Noir and the pork. All right, I'm going to get started here, okay? Here we go. All right, so I just got my water boiling, and I got a pan on the fire. And I'm just going to take the smoked bacon to get started in the pan here. We'll render that out a little bit. Get all close up. Can we get the sizzle? Randall, we got sizzle going on? We got sizzle. We got sizzle. Okay, here we go. Just a couple of minutes, we're going to render it out. We're going to use that fat to really incorporate into the pasta dish, and make sure that all that juiciness stays in the pasta. We got a little.
You didn't tell me that you were going to get to have like a whole staff there. You got a sous chef and a cameraman, and I'm sitting here by myself.
No. My sous chef, he's got online class for Cornell, so he's out of commission today. And let me also say that I apologize. Scotty Ramada, who's our partner in Pigs and Pinot and really leads the charge every year, for the event, was going to be here with me today. From a safety standpoint, we decided, at least for this week and maybe a couple weeks, I'll do it alone, and then he'll join me because, he is a huge part of Pigs and Pinot. He did all the shopping for this yesterday, by the way, and brought all the ingredients to us, Clay's going to bring the wine later today, right? All right. As I was saying, the recipe calls for cavatelli. I'm going to use gamelli. Any kind of twisted pasta, dry pasta, I think is good for this. You want something that's tight and narrow. Good quality semolina, obviously. And we'll get that. We'll throw that right in the pot and get started here. Salted water. We got a tablespoon of salt in the water. And just get that going. And move it in the pan here a little bit. Now listen, anybody that wants to have questions as we go here, on the bottom of your screen there's a little button with a question mark. If you click on that and post the question, we'll try to answer as many as possible, for both myself and for Clay. And Clay, when I'm getting this started, tell the audience a little bit about how our relationship started. When I became a huge, wine producer here in Guildford. Could you do that?
I will. It's one of my favorite stories. So, to know the story, you got to know my dad, and my dad, a man of few words in the greatest sense. And my dad comes home, and actually we're having lunch one day, and he says to me, "Hey, you ever heard of some guy named Charlie Parker?" And I'm thinking to myself, my dad has music his whole life. Why is he asking about a jazz musician? So I asked him, I said, are you talking about the musician? He said, no, I think this guy's a chef. I said, you talking about Charlie Palmer? He said, yeah, that's him. And I said, of course I know who Charlie Palmer is. Why? And my dad had his like mic drop moment, you know. He says, he called me a couple weeks ago. They just left it at that. So I bit and I said, what in the world is Charlie Palmer calling you for? He said, well, apparently he's moving out here and he bought a piece of property in Russian River and he wants to plant a vineyard. And I said, and you said yes? And he said, hell no. He said he wanted to plant like 2.5 acres with 5 different clones. So I told him, thanks, man. So after I explained that you weren't a musician and a little bit about your resume, his first question was, do you think he'd use my beef in his restaurants if we planted the vineyard? And the second question was, I basically told him I didn't care how much money he lost on this project. He was going to plant that damn vineyard. So I think it was about 2 weeks after that we all met up there at the blank piece of ground. And as I always say, you know, you and my dad are kindred souls and lover of simple things of life, and just kind of hit it off. And that's how this all got started.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, he was very like, who are you anyways? I said, look, I'm just a guy that wants to plant some grapes. So, you know, it worked out pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the recipe for a second. I'm just adding my sausage in there. And what we're going to do is add a little bit of the flake pepper, red pepper flake, season it up. This is a little dry basil. My garden's not producing the fresh basil yet, but, you know, dry herbs. People underestimate dry herbs. You know, it's like, you got to remember the intensity of basil in a dry form like that is really, you know, quite fragrant. So do that. Our pasta's cooking nicely over here. We'll just stir it up, make sure it's not sticking together. The pasta's going to take about 7-8 minutes to cook. In the meantime, we brown up our sausage. This is a nice fresh Italian sausage, sweet sausage, not too much heat. So we've added the pepper to it. Get those out of the way. And then once we get this browned up, we'll add our onion. It's a nice wafting smell, isn't it? So, you know, I got my Pinot oven. I didn't have any of the current vintage here at home. You know, I'm quarantined, you know, as many of us are. Clay's got the current vintage. He's going to drop off here later today, maybe. Wink, wink. But anyways, I just opened a bottle. This is interesting because this is a bottle of 2014, which was, well, we started Clay, what, in 2006 was the first vintage?
2006, yeah.
2006, yeah. So, yeah. But I tell you, this is pretty amazing, you know.
I got to say, I like our new label a little bit better, though, Charlie. I think we made some serious improvements.
The new label, yeah. Show the new label because, you know, I think, you know, that really tells us the evolution of Charlie Clay, you know.
Well, we got to tell the story about how that winemaking came to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, we had planted the vineyard for Charlie, and that's how Charlie and I met and developed a friendship. But it was really more of an acquaintance. And in 2005, I get this phone call from Charlie, and he says, hey, me and a couple guys are going to Burgundy. Do you want to come along? And I'm like, seriously, I think my first question was, do you have the right Clay on the phone? You know, because we were friends, but not like, hey, let's go to Burgundy. And so Mom always taught me never to shoot a gift horse in the mouth. So I jumped at the opportunity, and, you know, without getting into too much gory details, we basically ate and drank our way from Paris to Burgundy and back. We did Les Paulies, we did Hospice de Beaune. And I'll never forget, on the drive back, we chose numbers out of a hat, and I chose the losing number because I had to drive back to Paris after we had attended Les Paulies. Everyone else is passed out in the back, and you and I are talking, and you had said, so I bet you wonder what you're doing here. And I repeated what my mom told me that I wasn't going to ask because I didn't want to get kicked out. And you had said that my family had helped you fulfill one of your lifelong dreams of having your own vineyard, and the second part of that equation was that you would always want to make your own wine. And that I had been, unknowns to me, kind of there on a little bit of a palate test to see if I could weave my way through some red Burgundy and understood food and wine pairings. And literally from the drive to Beaune to Paris, the idea for Charlie Clay was hatched.
And that was it, man. Hey, it's been pretty damn good. Our wine's now, what, How much? What's the total production of we're going to have this year?
Well, 2018, our
Say for
production was
blend.
down a little bit. We have 283 cases of the 2018 Russian River Pinot, and then we have about 105 cases of the Sonoma Coast. So, you know, just a scotch under 400. Like normally we make about 450.
Yeah. And I do have a bottle of the Duelist over there too, huh? We got a question there too. Yeah, Clay, the question is like, can we share more about the wines we've made together? Varietals, vineyard sources. Clay, I mean, this is really a question for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we have kept it very focused. That's one of the things I've loved about working with you is that we just do Pinot Noir. For the first 13 years, we just made Russian River Pinot Noir. I think one of the big challenges when we started this is it was at the height of the Pinot Noir craze. And you just couldn't, you know, there wasn't a lot of great Pinot vineyards out there because they were all being used by these other iconic brands. And, you know, that's where my family, being sixth generation grape growers, paid a huge dividend, as we were able to call, you know, long-standing families like the Caligaris and Duttons and say, hey, we'd love to get a couple of tons from one of your great blocks. And people literally gave a shirt off their back to help us get this project started. And obviously we had your vineyard coming into production. So, you know, we have 3 outstanding vineyard sources for our Russian River Pinot Noir, and we keep it really, really focused. And we're excited in 2017 to add our first ever Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir to the portfolio.
Yeah, which is quite different. I mean, it's amazing to me that, you know, the vineyard source and how the wines obviously are, you know, 100% Pinot Noir, but the, you know, the difference and the nuances that come from, you know, I mean, I think it's pretty interesting, especially when we're tasting them side by side, you know.
Well, it's interesting. You know, I'm tasting the 2018 right now, and we've had so many warm vintages out of the past 10. You forget what a quote unquote normal or cooler vintage is like. And you know, 2018 has such beautiful acid. And I was just looking over the wine notes, and we ended up bottling it at under 14% alcohol. It's like 13.9% alcohol. And our Sonoma Coast, every vintage has been under 14%. But I think it just speaks volumes to that vintage. And just having outstanding vineyard sources.
Yep. All right, we got a nice brown in the pan. Let's go back to the recipe here for a second. So we're browned up in the pan. You see that all that nice caramelization, all that glistening pork fat. You know, this is, by the way, is a very dietetic dish, low cal, healthy. I'm going to put about a quarter cup of Pinot in here. We have the luxury of cooking with the same wines we drink, you know. Not always the case, but always a good idea, you know.
Hey, Charlie, can I interject? Shouldn't you always, I mean, when you're cooking, you want to use the best ingredients possible, whether it's the meat or the herbs. Shouldn't that go for the wine as well? Shouldn't you always use a really high quality wine in your recipe?
Yeah, it should, but, you know, you have this conflict sometimes where you're taking, for instance, we're drinking, Domaine Romani Conti Eschazow or something like that. I have a hard time pouring half the bottle into the pasta, you know. Luckily, we got plenty of Charlie Clay here, so. Well, actually, we don't have much of that left, so I got to be careful. The older vintage. Yeah, the recipe. The question, there's a recipe. Question about the recipe. Will we share the recipe? The recipe is going to live on pigsandpinot.com. It'll also be posted on my Instagram, you know, after this, you know, so yeah, don't feel like you have to write down the recipe or something. We're going to post it. You'll have it for life. That's the way we are. You have things for life, you know. Clay, maybe you want to talk about some of the other Pigs and Pinot friends coming up. Your friend, Mr. Mark McWilliams, you know.
Yeah, next week we got Mark McWilliams. Although I don't know if he's gonna, you know, be selfish and not share everyone else's posts, you might have to axe him out of the equation. Now, I think this is such an awesome idea. I mean, Pigs and Pinot, as you said earlier, is a beloved event. I know it sells out within minutes of, you know, tickets going on sale, and what a great way to bring a little bit of Pigs and Pinot into people's homes right now. And, you know, the lineup of producers is just phenomenal. You got Arista, you got Booker, and do you have any, is that the next two?
Yeah, we got Arista, we got Booker, Gary Farrell.
Gary Farrell, of course.
Yeah,
I saw
got
that Teresa's going to be on. I mean, just
winemakers.
all-star lineup of Pinot Noir producers, and you know, also great people. And I think, you know, if there's ever a time that we're appreciating, you know, humanity and, you know, people being humble and vulnerable, this is the time for that. So I love the fact that the people that you have coming on are just exceptional human beings as well as being great winemakers.
They make better wine. Nice people make better wine. That's it.
Certainly makes it more enjoyable.
There's a question here about are we going to do this with a rock piles in at some point?
Absolutely.
Why not, right?
Absolutely. What were you saying before? I think we're going to.
Maybe by then we can do it from rock pile. Over top the lake, you know?
You should definitely have them cook along too.
Yeah, and I think, we've been thinking about how we can do a cook along. So we'll give everybody the recipe ahead of time, you know, and I'm thinking something maybe like a grilling recipe. Then we can get out in the, you know, once we can get outside, we'll do like a grilling recipe where people can follow along and grill along with us. Of course, they got to have the wines in hand by then.
We could get the wine, exactly, get the wines out in front of people and allow them to taste and cook with us. I love that idea.
Yeah. Let me add one little trick here is, and I tell people always to do this, whether they're straining pasta into the sink, you know, into a colander or into a strainer, or if they're doing like we're doing here in a double boiler type situation, is to save some of that pasta water. Because that starchy water is what's going to reduce down here and help us make like a sauce. You know, it's really kind of that starch, the little starch that comes out in the water when you boil the pasta, really becomes a thickening agent and gives a little body to the sauce. We're going to get that in there. And again, get all that goodness off the bottom of the pan. You see those little brown bits? I mean, that's where all the flavor is. And now we got the wine residue in there. You get a little red wine. You can see it's almost like thickening up a little bit. Don't worry about getting too much water in there. You just keep reducing it down until you get a thickness you like. And remember, when the pasta goes in here, that's going to absorb a lot of that liquid too. So we get that in there. We're going to throw a couple of pieces of butter. You don't have to do that. But again, I'll add a little bit of creaminess. It'll add some creaminess to the sauce or the body of it. All right. Our pasta's ready now. We're really not going to drain it much. We're going to go with some of the pasta water right in there.
And Charlie, are you cooking that all the way to like the recommended, or are you leaving it a little bit al dente because it's going to cook more once you put it in the pot with the other ingredients?
Exactly. It's a little bit al dente. I don't go for like this, like, you know, toothsome stuff. I like pasta that's cooked, but it is true, like, to keep a little bit of the al dente until we get it in the pan, and now we start again. It starts absorbing some of that liquid. You see, we'll mix it all up nice together. Ooh, it's coming together. It smells great. I wish you could smell this, guys and gals. This is just like a Pigs and Pinot. 35 chefs cooking around, cooking a dish on that Friday night. And believe me, it's coming. We're just trying to figure out when we're going to ramp back up. You know, we're postponing it. We're not canceling it. Hopefully we'll be able to do Pigs and Pinot in the fall sometime. Until that time, we're going to bring you these dishes every week. Also, here we got a question here. Oh, hey, Clay, they're asking where they can get the wine. Just tell them how to simply order wine and have it delivered right to their door, will you?
Absolutely. If you go to the Mauritson Wines Instagram page, in our bio, there's a direct link to the Charlie Clay site. And something, you know, I don't know if we mentioned this yet, Charlie, that we're doing for the entire month of April is 25% of all of the proceeds from the sale of Charlie Clay are going to go to help hourly workers who are out of a job right now with the Charlie Palmer Collective. You guys have 500 hourly workers in your restaurants that are not able to work right now because of the coronavirus. And so like I said, 25% of all sales for the month of April will go to that. Once you click on the Mauritson Wines link in the bio that takes you to Charlie Clay, if you want to purchase other wines through the site, you're basically in our site. You can purchase some of the Zins and Sauvignon Blancs that we have available now as well.
No, that's great. All right, well, listen, we're nearing the end here. All that liquid is being absorbed. Actually, I'm going to add just a little bit more. We're going to get ready to plate up. One thing I wanted to add to, or just shout out to, we had, for Pigs and Pinot, we had, I think, close to 160 cases of wine ready delivered to Daryl. And Alexander Valley Vineyards stepped up and said that we could store the wine at the winery storage for us until the event actually happened. So thank you very much, to all our friends out there at Alexander Valley Winery. Again, I want to make sure we thank Scotty Romano. Scotty, you're going to be with us here soon. Hopefully you're watching. I'm sure you are. But appreciate you taking care of gathering all the ingredients, getting everything here, and even more so being our partner, because we love you, man. You good? All right, we're just going to finish up here the dish. Add some fresh parsley. I did that because I wanted to add a little, nice fresh green. Here's something, that's not in the recipe, but I like for anything to do with pork, especially if finishing something up, is just a little bit of fresh lemon. We're very fortunate. We have lemon trees outside, so we got lemons all over the place. But just a little squeeze of fresh lemon juice at the end, adds a little brightness and actually is able to cut the fat a little bit. Mixing that together. Looks great. Smells even better. All right. I'm going to turn that off. We got our pasta ready. And then I'm zooming up a little bit now. Lisa's sitting in the background over here, so maybe she'll have a little pasta.
Since I'm doing
shout out to Mom B. I hope you watch.
Delivery, do I get curbside food delivery?
Curbside? There we go. We got one more ingredient that goes on here. I know you know what it is. There's never too much. We got a couple of people in the house here. Cass, young gal that's been staying with us for a couple of weeks. She's quarantined with us. She says you never can have too much cheese, which I think is probably about right. Especially in these times. These things, sausage, cheese, things like that, really bring a bright spot to the day. So a little bit of fresh grated Reggiano. And then a little dollop of our ricotta. This is nice, just fresh ricotta cheese. I like to put that on the top. And then you mix it in at the table. Gives it that creaminess. Hey, and you know what, guys? Just had a brilliant idea since I got my zester out here. A little bit of lemon zest. These are Meyer lemons. Little lemon zest on top. There we go. We got a beautiful pasta. What do you think, Clay? Send it over?
It looks phenomenal. It looks absolutely amazing. So tell me especially with this, I know we talked about it before, but why we wanted to pair this wine with the dish. You're the master. You taught me this a long time ago. The winemaker's work is done when it comes to the bottle. The chef is the one who has to curate the meal around the wine. Why did you pick this dish with this wine?
Well, the one thing I think about it, with the richness of pork, any kind of pork, the smokiness, in this case, the bacon, adds that smokiness when we started it in the pan. And of course, that layer of fat. What's really great with the Pinot, and I think will never, ever fail, is the fact that our Pinot, and most Pinots, Russian River Pinots especially, have that really good acid. That acid is a foil for the fattiness, for the smokiness, and quite honestly, for the saltiness, because a lot of pork products are salted, dry cured, whether it's dry cured meats or, again, in this case, the bacon, and I think that saltiness. So that acid in the wine, that upfront fruit, is really a great foil for this dish in a comparison. I mean, it's a mouth-to-mouth kind of thing. So we'll let Lisa figure it out here. She's gonna taste.
Lucky me.
All right. Any other questions coming up on there, Randall?
Let's see.
A lot of questions going across the scroll.
Clay,
Going across.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to, Clay, they want to, you talk a little bit more about the winery and how you founded the winery?
Yeah, well, I'll talk a little bit about both. You know, Mauritson Winery is a family operation. My family is one of the oldest grape growing families in all of Sonoma County. Been growing grapes here since the 1860s, but had always been just farmers and sold our grapes to other wineries. And there is no doubt that I am the black sheep of the family and the one who figured the grass has got to be greener on the other side of the fence. So after trying to get away from the wine business, sometimes in life you don't know what you have till it's gone. And came back to Sonoma County and started looking around thinking, what in the hell is my family doing? We own some of the greatest vineyards in Sonoma County. Why are we selling this fruit to other wineries? And 22 years ago, I convinced my parents to sell me a little bit of fruit, and we started making our own wines. And for those of you that didn't hear the story earlier, Charlie and I cannot believe it, Charlie, but this will be our 15th vintage of Charlie Clay Pinot Noir. Isn't that crazy?
Starting to get the hang of it, huh? See?
Well, I'll let you tell the story about how the Duelist came about.
Oh, the Duelist?
Yeah.
The Duelist came about, and we don't make this every year, but, you know, probably, every 2 or 3 years. It's really a selection of one of the vineyard sources, because we have a couple. So this massive vineyard right out here in front of us, where we grow some Pinot, 4 different blocks of Pinot. Dutton Ranch, or Dutton Ranch fruit, which is Campbell Ranch. And then we have the Caligari fruit, which seems in recent years becomes the rock star of the whole thing, right? So some vintages, not all, we'll choose one single source and we'll make a Duelist. And where the Duelist comes from is because Clay and I can never agree, so we have to duel it out to see who wins. But, you know, usually it's Caligari, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, thanks everyone for joining us. Again, the recipe will live on pigsandpinot.com. Join us next week. Mark McWilliams. We're going to make a little pork scallopini with some of his Pinot. He's a super handsome guy, not as handsome as Clay, but so all you ladies are going to want to get on that live TV feed to, spark your day. He has a beautiful family, by the way, so, don't get any ideas. But until that time, please join us. Go on our website. Go on to Instagram. We're doing a lot of video stuff. I'm here in the kitchen, here at home. Well, almost 3 weeks now, being a good boy. And we have all our kids here, so we're really lucky. And then Scotty will be joining us a couple of weeks to do the pigs and Pinot dishes. Okay? Until that time, cheers. Thanks for joining us. Have a great time. Be safe. Be kind. Thank you.
Cheers, Charlie. Thank you.